Hey, Illini. Yeah.
Yeah,
My Illini. Yeah.
yeah.
Hey, Illini. Put your drinks up high. Offense is back. All right.
Come on
Nah,
now.
nah, 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 nah. Nah, yeah, yeah, yeah. Now. Oh my God, we're back again. I don't have anything
Okay.
else, but I'm into this card. 106. Doesn't this take you back to last year? Happier
Please,
times.
please, can I say the thing?
Do the thing.
If you aren't gonna score 100, don't show up to Game Bridge against the Illini.
How good did that feel?
Give me more rest per 40s, please, Greg, please.
Are we going right to it, or do you want to
Yes,
work
I
our way
want
there?
Marez per 40s before we do anything.
He had 4 points and 8 rebounds in 12 minutes, which would be I'm doing a little math on the fly right now. I think that's 10 and 28.
No, we're so back, man. We're so back.
We're extremely back. This is a fun version of Illinois basketball. A lot to discuss here. It did. It really. I don't mean to joke. I'm stuttering. It reminded me of last year's Illinois team. I don't feel that we've seen this potent offense very much this year. Obviously, it happened against Oregon, but this was different than Oregon. I mean, did they had like a half where they shot like 80% from three, I feel like, against Oregon. They shot it well in this game, but this was not just like nuclear, how are these shots going in? This was dominant from everywhere. Dominant inside, dominant from three, getting to the free throw line, dominating the boards. Everything worked for Illinois in this game. They got all five starters in double figures. They got contributions from the bench. Yes, they're healthy. That's a big part of this. They hit the 20-20-20, 39 two-point attempts, 26 three-point attempts, 30 free throw attempts. Cart, if I need to get greedy, I'll make it 30-30-30. That might be the next goal. I don't think anyone on earth is beating the Illini when they attempt 30 of everything, but this was just an A-plus performance. I think offensively, this was the best Illinois has looked this season. Do you agree?
Yeah, I was gonna say this was a outside of their defense, this was a perfect game. Now we'll talk about it because defense is definitely a big part of this, but offensively, they dominated this basketball game. Just absolutely domination on the inside, outside, passing the ball, aggressive getting to the rim, causing Iowa to foul in this basketball game. They shot 30 free throws in this game compared to Iowa's 10. They were the aggressor, they were the aggressive team. They dominated the glass. They really handled business in this basketball game, and the starters played extremely well. Kylan Boswell, I feel like that's good to see him see some shots going. He's kind of stringing together some very positive games during this win streak. The one downside of this team right now is Lithuanian Killian Hayes, Kasparas Yakushonis. He needs to get it right. He needs to fix himself. But outside of that, Will Riley's playing well. Big T Tomovicic with the triple double watching this game, 19, 10, and 6 assists
Yeah.
with a block to go with it. He really showed the passing chops in this basketball game as well. I mean, you score 106, you got to be feeling yourself offensively, and you hit the amount of threes that you hit, you got to be feeling yourself.
Yeah, he was sensational. It was stupid. I mean, if we're going individual player by player, Kylan, A-plus game, 24 points, 7 assists, 1 turnover, but he was just fantastic. That's the best offensive game he's played in an Illinois uniform. Will Riley, 21 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. He continues to show all this playmaking chop stuff that he didn't show. Literally, I'm sorry to go back to a miss. I don't like just harping on bad takes that we both have. You saying this dude doesn't even look to pass in the summer was just an all-time miss, Cart. He has very good passing instincts, and he's showing that every
Yeah.
game right now.
Yeah, it does. It's almost like they should have been playing him like this so he could have showed those passing chops from the start.
It would have been kind of nice. Maybe more on that in a moment. Trey White, how many times in the last 2 weeks have I needed to just repeat myself on this? This guy's super important, and he better be prioritized the rest of the year because he's the only guy in this group that doesn't need the basketball to make his impact. and he's finding the basketball. The basketball's finding him is the better terminology because the ball's moving and it's being unselfish. It's not sticking in one guy waiting to shoot a step back like this offense did for 35 days of this season. Trey White was spectacular, 22 points, a bunch of high-flying dunks. He tried for the poster of the year
Yeah,
in
he
this
tried to
game.
punch all over bronze. I think it was bronze.
That should tell you about where his confidence is at, but I loved it from him. And then Tom Ivisic, I think 19 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. Like you said, a true triple-double chance in this game. I don't think it's exaggerating to say those four guys each played to their absolute ceiling in this game, unless you want to argue like Will Riley's ceiling is hitting 10 threes, because we saw that in November. But
No,
this is just
I think all those guys you named gave A+ performances.
A plus performances. And then you have Kasparas, who in 28 minutes finished with 10 points, 1 for 6 from the floor. 7 of his 10 points came at the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 0 assists. Kylan got 7. Will Riley got 5. Your center got 6. Merez had 1. But your superstar point guard had 0 assists to 6 turnovers in 28 minutes in this game. Cart, this is not his first stinker. It's a couple straight iffy games from him. This is a far cry from the dominant Kasparas that we saw in moments this year. But for the first time this year, I will say this. I would argue that it was better for Illinois that Kasparas wasn't on fire doing everything in this game. And I can elaborate on that in a moment if you'd like me to. But how do you try and diagnose what's going on with Step Back Yak right now?
So I don't know why it took me so long to notice this, but I was unaware that Kasparas does the step back thing because him and Kendrick Perkins had the same handle. That's the reason why he does that, because he can't get past people. I mean, he was really bad in this basketball game. I'm not trying to find the silver lining for it. He was awful. I mean, he got to the free throw line, so I guess you give him credit in that regard. But glass half full here. I'm gonna take my Legends Cup. I'm gonna fill it up halfway on this one. They were able to do this all while Kasparas had a stinker. That is good. That is good that they had that. And even in this midst of a stinker, there was kind of like a mini fake Iowa run where they cut it to like 9-ish or something like that. And I feel like Kasparas hit like one of his signature little step back threes to kind of take a deep breath, exhale, and feel a little bit better about themselves. But the turnovers were really bad in this game for Kasparas. A lot like, what are you looking at? Why are you throwing the ball there? Um, it it takes some pretty bad play to let this Iowa team force you into turnovers and not being able to get past, the Josh Dixes of the world.
I'm working on metaphors for Kasparas, KJ, who is I don't know. I feel like you and I go back and forth on him. We're very harsh on him when he's bad. And I think we do our best to praise him when he's good. I do like watching him. He's polarizing, for lack of a better word. Just the way he plays and the clutch stuff and just sort of, I don't know, it's entertaining as hell. I can't recall many players like him, but it's just polarizing because when it goes bad, it goes awful. And when it goes good, it goes great. And when it's in between, it feels bad. Doesn't feel good when he's not great for some reason. And look, 0 assists to 6 turnovers is unacceptable. Again, 5 games ago, he had 0 assists and 7 turnovers. Saying the first time he's done this. So, kind of unacceptable for me for a guy in his final month of the season that's going to be in an NBA uniform next year. Like, these aren't like just got to college mistakes. This is the Iowa defense we're talking about, Cart. This is one of the worst defenses in the sport that the entire rest of the team torched, that doesn't put any pressure on you ever. And he just couldn't make plays in this game. Now, again, I think there's a twist that it is better for Illinois if Kasparas is not the centerpiece of this for the remainder of the season. Illinois fans may disagree. This may be a little overreactionary to them, but let me state my case on this. I think Will Riley is clearly the centerpiece. And I think everybody else thrives off of watching the offense run through Will Riley right now. He makes the right plays. He's clearly got a higher IQ than we realized on the offensive end. He's got great footwork, up and unders, all that stuff. He can score for himself, but he can also really pass, and he doesn't force the pass. That's the thing. Half the time, the same way Kasparas is shot hunting for himself looks forced at times, his passing and his playmaking looks forced at times. Sometimes he looks like he's out there trying things to try things, and it's not helping this team right now. There are moments it will, but I think if you can get Kasparas into a spot here where down the stretch run of the season, you're not leaning on him every single possession, and instead you're letting him pick his spots. Oh, hey, we're tied with a minute left. Kind of nice we got a clutch monster who wants the moment. But oh, hey, we're up 7 in the first half. Let's feed Will. Let's get Kylan Boswell involved a little bit. Keep him happy. Let's get Trey White moving. Let's get our center, who's like this crazy vision passer, the ball in the high post. I don't think it's a coincidence that all these other guys looked great because they finally were involved on the ball and not standing around watching a guy that's extremely turnover prone and can only shoot step backs. Do you agree with me, or is that a crazy stretch of the imagination?
I mean, they did watch him to the tune of 28 minutes and watch him throw the ball to the other team. But
No,
I
even
do,
when he was on the floor, though, he was off the ball more, and they were running better stuff through like Big T as a
yeah,
centerpiece.
because they had to. Because when he had the ball in his hands, he turned it over. Because Bears has been bad for like a month.
I mean, you're right.
Like and since if you literally go back a month, go back to the Michigan State game that they lost, he has 21 assists and 20 turnovers.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, and yes, he hits timely threes. I'm glad he's hitting timely ones because if he doesn't hit timely ones, then you get to look at the rest of his 3-point percentage where it's not good
yeah,
and he's turning the ball over. But I guess that doesn't matter because you're getting Kylan playing well, you're getting Trey White playing well, you're getting Will Riley playing well. So like that's fine. And maybe we always like to do like the Yegor and Kasparas like compare. Wow, that's a tongue twister. The Yegor and Kasparas comparison game sometimes from time to time. Yegor kind of took a backseat at BYU and let somebody else kind of go, like Richie Saunders making plays. I think that there has been somewhat of a shift, like you said, to Will Riley being the guy and Kylan having more like on ball situations being the guy. Big T maybe initiating some offense as well. I do think that's actually a real thing here, but kind of like Illinois season being peaks and valleys and things such as that. Kasparas Yakusho is a roller coaster of a basketball player.
he is. But that can be okay if they're not trying to treat him like he's a transcendent win now superstar. And that's where I think Brad made his mistakes earlier this season. If you heard him talk about him, effusive in his praise, I've never heard Brad Underwood praise a player more. And I think I called it out in like December or January card. It felt like he was treating Kasparas with kid gloves because he used to hold his superstars really accountable. And I've never seen him yell at Kasparas, really. Right? I've never seen him yank Kasparas. It's always like, listen to me talk about how great this kid is. He's a genius. We're so lucky to be in his presence. He's everything. It will be better for Illinois if he's not everything. And if he plays good enough to be everything again, great. But he hasn't been that good for a month. And I think truly they're going through exactly what BYU did with Yegor. I like that call out from you. BYU just went through this in February, Cart, where they stopped trying to lean on Yegor to be the every possession guy. Now let him just use his stuff in transition, pick his spots. He's looked way more comfortable. BYU has been the best team in the Big 12 for a month and a half. Illinois, if this is the version of them, if everyone else is involved and they're not overusing Kasparas, I think this is a team that still has everything in front of them. But yeah, I don't know. Don't you agree though? Like it's a correlation here. Kasparas not doing as much in this game and the offense looking phenomenal seems like it
Yeah,
maps.
yeah. Like, and when I say that, like when we talk about Kasparas, I think you pointed it out. I think we grade him on a harder scale because of who he is as a player. But at the same time, in the big grand scheme of things, Illinois might be better, like we said, with like not having to depend on him. So, like, do you want him to play well and not turn the ball over? Like, of course you do. But I don't know if it's detrimental to your team like it was earlier in the season, like you stated, because he's not just the guy that we just got to ride out until into the sunset, basically, right?
Yeah. What'd you think of how Illinois staggered the bench stuff? I talked a lot about like what would Merez's role be. He came back and only played 12 minutes in this game. I'm assuming you're going to say you wanted more of those. Benham Rickhouse only 17 minutes. He hit 1 3, 5 points, 3 rebounds. Thought he didn't make any major mistakes out there. DGL got 10 very empty minutes. Nobody else really did anything other than like a small Jake Davis run. Um, how would you change how he ran the bench in this game?
I don't think I would change anything, to be honest with you. I
Really?
like how it worked out. I like the five playing major roles. If I think here's maybe the one pivot I would have had, and I think you'll differ from me on this one. I would have moved off Kasparas a little bit.
Just literally get him out, get other guys in.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I feel like I'm in the minority there, and I'm fine with that. I just thought he really didn't give you anything. Because when the
He
ball
got to the
touched his hands,
line.
he threw it to the other team.
He got to the line.
Lucky for him.
And you still like, even if you're using him as a decoy, he's the top of the scouting report. People are paying attention to him.
You think he's at the top,
Yeah.
like the very top?
You don't think anyone is even caring about Kasparas right now? That's
No,
where you're
they
now
care
at?
about him. He's just not the
No,
very
can
top.
we admit you're being disrespectful on this? Like, I get it. He was bad in this game. He struggled for the last month. He's not like you think he's not at the top of it. Like, what? Like, what? Is he a
He's
role
at the.
player
I mean, he's at
now?
the top. He's not the very top.
Who is?
Will Riley.
I mean, Illinois has 3 stars that you got to count for, all different. I would assume Big T is just as much of a priority for defenses to deal with as any of these guys. But
Yeah, probably.
I don't like acting like teams aren't even concerned about Kasparas now. That's not true at all. In fact, in this
Probably.
game, strictly specifically, what happened, teams were trying to be concerned, or I was trying to be concerned with Kasparas, with T, with Riley. They were leaving Kylan Boswell wide open, and then Boswell made them pay and hit 4 threes while they just didn't guard him. That's not, hey, we're not worried about Kasparas. That's, we're worried about him and we're going to leave other guys.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. All right. I think it can be both. Like he's struggling right now. It's not like, yeah, write him off. No one cares about him anymore.
Yeah, you can't.
Um,
He's too talented to do that.
yeah. Okay. Iowa.
I think.
Peyton Sanford, 30 points in his final game. He had stretches of this game where he was utterly superb, unguardable, pulling up in transition. He has had moments in his career like this where he just blacks out and it doesn't matter where he shoots from, how contested it is, it just goes in. He's really struggled this year. I mean, he could have been a first team All Big Ten guy. He just didn't have a good year. But played through injury, played through death threats. He talked about it. He was very emotional at the end of this game. There was a cool moment that Hummel called out, and I thought it was cool how Hummel was talking about this on the broadcast because after Fran got kicked out, Iowa doesn't really have a guy that stood up to coach there. Obviously, somebody else becomes that coach, but there's not like a lead assistant at Iowa that's going to take the reins here. Peyton Sanford took Fran McCaffrey's chair, planted it in the middle of the huddle, and was screaming at this team as if he was Fran with 10 minutes left in his career, down 8 points. And he came out of that timeout and hit 3 straight jumpers. And it was just like there was a moment, they cut it to 6. And it never felt like they were going to come back and win because Illinois' offense was too good. But they cut it to 6. And I remember thinking, this might be something with what Sanford's doing mixed with taking Fran's chair and just what a cool half this is from him. So, did you feel the same feelings I got watching this? And how will you remember Sanford's final game here?
Yeah. By the way, this whole like sending messages to college athletes thing is insane. Like, people really need to get a grip. That's crazy. I've never been pushed to that point or even thought about that ever in my life. So, like, if you have that type of effect, you need to seek help immediately. Especially like we're throwing death threats at Peyton Sanford. What did y'all want him to do?
Right.
Carry Iowa to a Big Ten title or something? Relax. But no, it was truly actually tugging on the heartstrings a little bit because like I felt what Humble was saying. Like people don't realize the time you spend in a program with people battling through injuries every single day, like working with the team. Those are your brothers, and you do put blood. Like people use it as a cliche, but like a lot of these guys do put blood, sweat, and tears into this program and put 4 to 5 years of their life into this program, and it ends abruptly. Like it ends abruptly, and just like that, it's over. So I respect it. I think he went out respectably. Obviously, he had a really great performance. The Sanford family and Josh Dix, I mean, what they combined for how many points? 61 points in this basketball game. They certainly did their part and they did everything they could offensively. They just weren't able to get stops against the Illini.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, when you hear the Sanford numbers combined on that, I forget that the brother is even there, to be honest. Like I got to do a double take sometimes, but it was cool. He was really emotional when Peyton checked out at the end and he was crying as much as his brother was, which I don't know. You know, I'm a sucker for siblings in college basketball, but I just thought that was cool. Clearly this meant a lot to those two. And hanging over this is the fact that Fran McCaffrey was ejected from this game. Any thoughts?
Two thoughts. One, love it. Absolutely love it. That's how I want everyone to go out. Two, really killed his team. Really killed his basketball team. They were down 8 points, 9 points, had the ball. All of a sudden he gets a technical, they're down 14, and Illinois has the balls at the free throw line. So yeah, kind of killed his team if they had any chance of winning in that moment.
That's all you got from me on Fran's ejection?
Also, what did he do?
That's what I was going to get to.
What did he do?
Like, I'm sorry, and I'm making this about you, but like your response to this ejection after Fran really visibly did nothing is like, God, you can't do that. You killed your team. What?
I mean, he definitely said something, G.
Dog, this is like
He
the
didn't he didn't just
harshest,
he didn't just exchange pleasantries
just
with the
the
guy. He said
harshest
something.
whistle I have ever seen for a coach. Do you not have the context of Fran's situation right now? Like, come on. They're 10-point underdogs. They can't get a stop to save their lives. They're going to lose this basketball game. And you throw out Fran in what's probably the final game of his career, definitely the final game of Peyton Sanford's career.
Mhm.
You rob Fran McCaffrey and Peyton Sanford the moment of like greeting each other at the end of their careers.
Yeah.
That's what was taken from this game. Because of what? I'm sorry. I don't care what he said. There are so many coaches in college basketball and in this league specifically that are allowed to do way more than whatever Fran McCaffrey did in this game. And it's a travesty given the stakes of what was on the line for him. This is probably his final memory, and it's just gone. I think that's bullshit, and I'm genuinely upset about it.
Yeah, I mean, look, it goes two ways. Like he shouldn't have been ejected. He also like can't get ejected.
I didn't see anything worthy of it. Nothing.
I mean, there was nothing worthy of it, but just don't get ejected.
Don't eject him. Like
And,
I'm the
and don't get
I,
ejected.
I think he could have thrown a chair to half court, and I would have been upset if he got ejected in this game.
I mean, he definitely said something to the ref, right?
I don't care. He can say whatever the hell he wants to the ref in this game. Don't eject the coach on his final game of his career.
I'm with you.
Pretty simple.
I agree.
Pretty simple.
Also,
Was
who
that the
cares?
final game of Fran's career?
Yes.
Definitively.
Yes.
Feels that way to me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Feels that way to me too. Okay. Anything else on this game before we're gonna have previews up of all the games again tomorrow. Thank you to our Illinois fans and all of our fans that are able to watch these in rapid succession for us. Anything else?
Do you care about the defense at all?
Oh yeah, thanks for bringing up that side. I thought we were doing the bit where we don't care about defense. This was a disaster for Illinois.
Okay. But like is it just like it like Iowa making shots or like what?
No,
No.
No, it was a really, really lackadaisical effort.
That's what I thought too. I just wanted to see if we were on the same page.
Lackadaisical effort, and also Big T's a liability defensively.
Yeah, he's a wacky inflatable champagne Subaru dealership man.
He's just as good as he is offensively. He's that bad defensively. And Illinois fans will poke at this and say we're wrong and point to times this season where they've played coverages that have covered for Big T's limitations defensively. There's a reason this team tried drop for so long. Like if you make him get out in space, if you slip screens, if you just beat him down the court in transition, I don't see anything there. He's not really a shot blocking presence like crazy. Merez can give you a little bit of that, a little bit of that toughness, but yeah, Card, I don't know. I part of this is Iowa's offense is good, give them credit and the pace they play with, but to me this was an Illinois game where they looked up and said, "We can do whatever we want in this game. It doesn't matter."
Right. So maybe part of the defensive effort was like they realized they didn't necessarily have to put it forth on that end. They could just outscore them.
Yeah, I do think it's that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
If Maryland scores like 90, does that become your concern though?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
we'll have a preview up of that. We can talk through it more. As we do with all our teams that are being eliminated, Cart, please take a moment, commemorate the season that was for the Iowa Hawkeyes.
I was gonna cuss and let you eject me, but I don't want to cuss. So I'm just gonna say, actually, on a more sentimental note, like Fran is Iowa basketball. Like you and I are Big Ten guys, and we watched a lot of Iowa basketball and Fran McCaffrey, and like objectively, I like Fran McCaffrey. So if this was the end for him, salute to you, coach. Salute to, what you're gonna do after your coaching career. I don't know if you're trying to retire, coach more, whatever it might be. I actually salute you for what you did for Iowa basketball. It was hella fun to watch.
You took a program that I had never seen do anything in my life, and you made it must watch, entertaining, fun hoops for 2 decades.
Yeah,
That's a much harder accomplishment than you will ever get credit for, Fran. Here's to
facts.
you, my friend, and I will be submitting my application shortly for head coach of Iowa basketball.